Upon closer inspection, this mountain of hay appears to have been deliberately woven into an intricate wickerwork structure. You carefully pluck a single piece of straw from its center, and the whole bundle begins to swirl and unravel while a gaping vortex opens before you.
Fee-fi, fo-fum, I want pie in my tummy tum-tum.
Come on, then. Have a helping.
The bandit plunges his hand into the pie, grabbing a fistful. He barks in delight as wet chunks of pie filling spatter out of his gob.
Ah, delish, just like how Ma used to make, but something's different.
He picks a small black feather from between his yellow teeth.
Is this crow?
I figured you could do with the serving of humility.
The gargantuan's man's lips begins to quiver. Great watery tears well up in his beady eyes.
What's the matter, dearie? Are the spices too strong?
No, it ain't the spices. It's just...
He deteriorates into great shuddering sobs that shake the camp.
Always said I was a bad seed, said I weren't good for nothing but eating and thieving. But all I really wanted to do was dance. I was gonna make the greatest dance troupe the world ever seen, had a name in mind and everything. Picking the leaping pockets. But I ain't been doing nothing but taking, always taking. Oh, Ma was right, I am a bad apple.
Come on now. Dry those eyes. You're not all that bad.
He snorts a dangling glob of snot back into his nose.
You really think so?
You gently reassure him with another helping of pie.
Of course not. You're going to tell me all about the Ox's family, aren't you?
Oh, right. Well, you see, we've been spying on that ox for years now. Every full moon he'd go out into his fields all by his lonesome. He'd howl at the sky. What was it he say? Oh yeah, I'd cruck a corn cob.
And it always sounded like he got into an argument with someone, but there was never anyone else there, except that creepy old scarecrow of his.
You pat the sniffling rogue on his stubbly cheek.
That's a good lad. Maybe it's time to think about trading the daggers for dance shoes?
He stuffs more handfuls of the crumbling pie between his blubbering lips.
Yes, I'll do it. I'll dance.
This eerie simulacrum of a human sways in the breeze. Lumpy face seems to leer down at you, as if expecting something.
Abracacorncum?
The figure creaks against its pole as its vegetative head twists to look at you. It takes a wheezing breath and expelling a moth from its mouth hole.
Hello? Yes. Have you come to strike a deal with the great and magnanimous Harvest Master? Yes, Harvest Master.
Ugh, no thank you. I'm involved in quite too many dark contracts with supernatural beings already.
Why then have you summoned me?
Has the ox made a deal with you, perchance?
The ox? Why,
Yes, terrible trade, I say, but a deal is a deal.
What sort of trade? Does it have to do with his missing family?
Yes, he said he wanted to win pretty prizes, grow the best crops, said he would give up anything in the world, so he offered me his wife and son, and I'm not one to refuse a bargain like that.
Where are they? What did you do with them?
Don't worry, they're fine. As long as I make the crops grow, they belong to me.
And if the crop should fail, your deal would be broken.
Ha! I am the great Harvest Master. My harvest will never fail.
We'll see about that. I'd better take a closer look at these prize-winning plants. These stalks don't look so sturdy to me. A good herbicide ought to shrivel these right up. That'll teach that ox a lesson about proper agricultural practices. I'll need a sturdy enough vessel to hold the poison, though. Maybe I can convince that vegetative fellow to give up that nice big watering can of his. Well, hello again. Find out anything about that ox is up to? As a matter of fact, I have. Seems he traded his family to a turnip wizard or a field genie or some other such nonsense. Oh, you must mean the harvest master. That explains a lot, actually. Bad business to get mixed up with that sort of fella.
The farmer nervously wipes his brow with the back of his leafy hand.
Not that I would know anything about that myself. Listen, I don't have time to exchange farm gossip. I need to borrow your watering can over there. I'd be happy to lend it to you, but unfortunately I still needed to grow my prize-winning vegetable.
You glance down at the fat head of cabbage bobbing gently against a blanket of big, swaddling leaves. Think you may have heard a faint giggling coming from deep within the fronds.
Seems plenty big enough to me. Just you wait. My little baby is going to grow up to be a great big baby. It's going to be the belle of the ball at this year's festival. But if it were to say, grow a little faster, I suppose I wouldn't need my watering can at all.
You swear the farmer winks at you, despite not being equipped with any eyes.
Does nobody here grow produce in the honest way? Let me take a look at the little tyke.
You look down at the fattest little cabbage you've ever seen, but if it gets your hands on that watering can, it could stand to be a little fatter. Crushed into a fine powder, a gizzard stone lends potent nutrients to the soil. You pop open the cork of the potion and sprinkle the bright liquid onto the cabbage's roots. You spritz the cabbage with fresh, clear water while uttering a simple horticultural charm. The water beads like dewdrops before the leaves drink them up and brighten in color. The budding plant changes to a bright purple, then blue, then yellow, and suddenly goes rigid and sit. The farmer gasps in horror as his precious baby disappears back into the earth. He turns to you, shoulders stiff and pitchfork in hand. He takes one step at your direction, but stops abruptly when a tremor shakes the ground. You look to your feet and watch deep cracks split the earth.
Hold on to your hat. This one's gonna be big.
You hear a booming giggle echo from deep in the ground. The vegetable farmer falls to his knees, clutching his hat to his chest. In an explosion of leafy greens and flying earth, the bouncing head of an enormous cabbage erupts into the field. The farmer reaches out to it shakily.
My little baby.
The farmer scrambles towards the big, bubbling cabbage with open arms.
My beautiful baby. Look at how big you've grown. See, with a little love and help from your friends, you're sure to win first prize after all. Oh, I don't even care about the zilly zing anymore. Just look at how handsome my boob is.
The two embrace, laughing and crying.
I guess you won't be needing that watering can anymore? Please, help yourself. You've helped me more than enough.
It will take some work to break through the Scarecrow's magical boon, but you're confident in your mastery of poisons. You crush up the impish bone into fine powder. This potent fertilizer will help spread the blight. You hold your breath and empty the poisonous vial into the container. The toxic fumes make your fingernails curl. A good amount of the word water will dilute the poison to keep it from eating straight through the metal can. You find a hefty stick to mix all the ingredients together inside the watering can. You know your work is done when the stick dissolves into mush in your hands.
Hey, I thought I told you to beat it.
He raises his hoe and brandishes at you menacingly. You watch the sickness spreading up the stalks to the very tips of the tallest leaves. Vivid greens turn to diseased browns as the crops bend and droop.
No! What is happening? Harvest Master, we made a deal. You promised my crops would never fail.
Dreadful sorry. Looks like my magic is broken. Not my fault.
The ox throws himself to the ground, desperately raking the soil with his fingers.
Wait, let's make a new deal. Please, I sacrificed too much for this.
A new deal? What is your offer?
Anything you want, just bring my precious crops back to me.
Anything. This is acceptable.
Worm-like roots suddenly wrap around the ox's feet and begin dragging him into the soil.
Wait, I didn't mean...
The dust settles over the spot where the ox once stood, as if nothing had happened. Though the soil looks barren and diseased, a small sprout of leafy green catches your eye. Where the ox once stood, a green tendril has pushed its way through the earth. You watch a delicate blossom unfurl, revealing a stubborn, hard-shelled seed, the soul of the ox. Standing at the front gate, the ox's missing wife and son blink in confusion as they had just burst forth from the earth itself. Ma, what happened?
Ah, welcome back. I suppose you don't remember much.
He really did it, didn't he? That stupid festival prize was worth more than us. Where is he? Where is my husband?
Don't fret. I've already set things straight. He won't be troubling you again. And you've got this nice fertile farm all to yourself now.
Moss son and I worked ourselves to the bone for that horrible man. Thank you for lifting the curse.
Just do me a favor and don't make any deals with suspicious scarecrows. kicked over those little rock piles like you asked. Now give me that shard or I'll knock over this nest too.
You smash fairy shards? Good, good. Take it. We don't want your trash.
The pixie flicks the shard out of the tree and it lands on the ground for you to take.
Have you found any of the mirror shards? I wonder where they could be.
You gingerly hand over the broken glass shards to the maiden. She is careful not to cut herself on the razor-sharp edges as she slots them into the mirror frame. The pieces click into place perfectly, and the surface of the mirror ripples like the water on a lake. The ripples calm, settling into the form of a pristine crystal mirror. She gazes into the mirror with awe.
Look, it's as good as new. Oh,
The maiden's reflection ripples and morphs into the visage of the handsome young man.
My love, is that you?
Overcome with joy, a fresh stream of tears rolled down her cheeks.
I can't believe my eyes. I don't understand. What happened? Where are you?
I'm in prison inside my own head. It's horrible here. You have to get me out.
You went to the snake, didn't you? Why would you do something so stupid?
Listen, my love, I have a confession to make. I'm not actually that good of a musician.
What are you talking about?
You were so beautiful upon your balcony, a bum like me would never get your attention. So I asked the snake to help me out a little. I thought I could protect myself from the snake's hypnotic gaze with his magic mirror, but then he went and broke the darn thing.
I didn't break it. It slipped out of my hand. Wait, don't you put this on me? How could you be so irresponsible?
One problem at a time, children. We fixed the mirror, so it should be able to break the snake's spell now. Yes. Oh, you have no idea how unbearable it is being stuck in here. There's nothing but awful poetry and song lyrics that don't even rhyme.
Please, Granny, take the mirror. I can hardly stand to look at this buffoon any longer.
Babe, wait.
Sudden dread grips the snake as you swing the shimmering mirror to meet his eyes. The mind-altering patterns of his gaze are reflected back to him. Slowly but steadily, the snake leans closer and closer to the surface of the mirror. His forked tongue flicks against the glass and then disappears beyond it.
It's so beautiful.
Like a length of rope being pulled through the eyelet, the snake rushes forward and vanishes into his own reflection. The mirror jolts and bucks out of your hand, clattering to the ground. You stoop down, careful not to look too deeply. Hidden in the reflection of the mirror's surface, you can faintly make out a tiny wriggling shape, trapped just beyond the veil of this world. The soul of the snake. The frantic-looking officer shouts hurried orders at whoever will listen, but most of the camp's shoulders are busy cowering or knocked out cold.
Man the gates! You, over there, secure the perimeter. We just need to hold out a little longer. Sir, we're running out of men. Where's that damn shipment of honey?
You step over an unconscious footman to address the man in charge.
I might be able to answer that question.
Who let this old bat into the camp?
I found your quartermaster. He's having a bit of cart trouble on the road. I'm afraid your shipment isn't going to get here anytime soon.
What? Oh, curse my rusty breeches. Without that honey and other supplies, we can't make the honey mean. The bear's gonna flatten the whole camp when he finds out.
The camp looks half flattened already. What's all this ruckus about?
Well, the bear is the greatest warrior there ever was, which is grand and all when we're fighting the enemy. But once we set up camp, he likes to use us poor sods as playthings to reenact his conquests. And the only thing the bear loves as much as fighting is drinking. Guzzles up so much honey mead, we have to brew it right here in the camp just to keep up.
He points to a squat-looking device tucked near some tents. A portable brewery.
Without that shipment of ingredients, I don't see how we can ever calm the bear down. He'll smash us all into paste before the sun sets.
Let me take a look at this brew of yours. If the bear is so in love with brawling and boozing, then perhaps it's about time he received a dose of his own medicine.
You inspect the brass contraption, a tank here, a hopper there. The bitter smell of alcohol is infused into the well-worn metal. Despite the needlessly complicated dials and tubing, at the end of the day, the brewery is really just a fancy cauldron.
This seems simple enough. I should be able to concoct just the potion for your troubles.
The rattled sergeant shrugs his shoulders at you.
Sure, if you think it'll help, but you'll need to fuel the darn thing first. Our supplies are a mess, so you'll have to figure it out on your own.
You open up the brewery to inspect its complicated innards. You snap kindling into pieces and scatter it into the bottom compartment of the brewer. Should feel enough for the job. You slosh cool, clear water into the brewer's main tank. Not the best base for potion brewing, but you want to preserve that honey mead flavor. With the heat of the cinder box, you set the stove's chamber of the brewer alight. It will bring the tank to a rolling boil. With the hiss of steam and the sound of boiling water, the rattling brewer is ready for the next step in the process.
Of course I'll need honey for the mead. That quartermaster said he was coming back from the apiary in the fields, so I best try there. Then I'll need a proper magical binder and a token of the bear to seal the spell. Something in this camp ought to do the trick.
The frothing basin of the brewery stands ready for the right ingredients. Through the open tent flap, you catch a glimpse of a pillaged trinkets and treasures scattered about the spacious interior. You surmise that one of these precious objects might contain enough magical essence to use as a token of the bear. Your eyes have only a moment to linger upon the giant fern-lined bed before a hand pulls the door flap shut. The sergeant gives you a disapproving glare as he ushers you away.
Hey, you can't go in there. That's the bear's personal tent. You know the kind of hell that would break loose if he finds out someone's been snooping?
Don't worry, I'll be careful. Seems like your men are keeping him distracted anyway.
You glance over at the bear as he tosses aside a soldier like a sack of potatoes.
No way. No how. You think this is bad? Just wait until he finds out there's no more me.
If you're so afraid of that stomping brute, why don't you just slip away into the night? Surely you should prolong your life a little.
And abandon all my friends? We soldiers gotta stick together. It's our only chance. If there only was some way to stand up to the bear.
A thought seems to cross the sergeant's mind as he notices the potions and baubles hanging about your belt.
Say, you're good with magical doodads and what's its right? What if you make me some sort of protective charm or chaliceman? Then I could have a chance against that monster without getting my head shoved in.
If I make you a protective talisman, will you let me into this tent?
I suppose I wouldn't have much to worry about if you did.
Here, This ought to shield you from harm, for a time.
He grins nervously as he puts the charm around his neck. Then he clappers himself in the face with his own fist.
Wow, you weren't kidding. That's nowhere near the kind of punishment the bear can dish out. I better find some more stuff to test it out with. Then I'll give that bear a piece of my mind.
He stumbles off into the camp to find other objects to try against his newfound protection, leaving the bear's tent unattended. You ladle out a good portion of the writhing tar-like substance into the brewery. To be safe, you add a little bit more just for texture. You pause before dropping the tattered plaything into the brewery. A glint in its button eye reminds you of something, but the thought soon evaporates from your mind. You overturn your palm and the stuffed bear splashes down into the concoction. It floats sadly for a moment before becoming waterlogged and disappearing under the surface.
Hi-de-ho! I'm afraid we're closed for the season.
Closed, but I need some of your honey right away.
Sorry, our supply was cleaned out just a little while ago. Funny little man with the cart. You just missed him.
Yes, I met him. He's the quartermaster for the bear, but he had a bit of an accident on the road. I need to collect some more honey for the lakeshore camp.
The bear. Well, that explains why the quartermaster pushed such staying much. I heard that lumbering bully would steal the nectar from a larva if it suited him. My poor bees have already worked themselves half to death for that order, and they don't have any honey left. I wish I could do something to help you, but the only honey left in the entire apiary is Her Majesty's personal reserve.
Her Majesty?
Why, my sweet spring flower, the jewel of my crown, the golden sun of my...
Yes, get on with it.
My beloved queen, she's as lovely as she is wise, and resides over her flowered kingdom.
A shrill voice pierces the meadow and sends chills down your spine.
Slave! Where's my dinner? I ordered you bring me the finest sunflowers.
Right away, my love.
And make it pretty this time. I don't want another one of your dandelion bouquets like some common wasp.
Yes, my sweet.
I think I had better have an audience with this queen myself.
The regal insect looks down a curled nose at you scornfully.
That fool beekeeper is supposed to keep the rabble from trampling my delicate garden.
Good help is so hard to find, isn't it?
And I
I suppose you've come to lend a hand. No, I don't think so. What do you want, little beetle?
You seem like a very busy woman, so I won't waste your time. I need honey, your best honey.
She tilts her long neck back and lets out a buzzing laugh.
Do you think I simply give my carefully cultivated riches to just any commoner? Do you have any idea how much time and energy is spent managing this colony? Everyone always wants something, but no one ever wants to work for it.
In a rustle of petals, the beekeeper comes running over, holding out an assortment of beautiful prairie flowers.
My darling sweetheart, I offer you the finest meadow flowers. I hope you find these to your liking.
Is this a miracle? You wax-brain fool. You know I despise this stuff. How many times must I repeat myself? Get out of my sight, all of you.
My love, I've wronged you. Let me try again.
You follow the beekeeper a short distance away while he busies himself picking more flowers.
She seems to be in a foul mood. Does she always treat you like this?
Well, yes, but really, usually my own fault. Sometimes when she really gets her venom up, a little bit of smoke and soothing herbs calm her right down.
Smoke, you say? I'm sure I can come up with something to even out her mood.
You sneak, do you honestly believe that your little smoke can...
The queen fans herself lightly as the world begins to push and pull all around her.
Ooh, does anyone else feel a little hot? Anyways, as I was saying, you can't just...
The sparkling sun bears down on the queen like a warm summer's embrace.
My, look at all these beautiful colors. Have they always been so bright?
The queen bee stretches her arms across the sea of flowers, brushing the tips of their petals gleefully. She arches her limbs through the myriad of colors swirling about her head.
It's gorgeous. Oh, what's that delicious smell?
Cracking into the waxen walls of her hive, the queen pulls out a golden honeycomb. She proceeds to messily stuff the honey into her face.
Oh, it's delectable. Oh, it's so good. You simply have to try some, my dear. I've never tasted anything so delicious in my life.
She offers up a sticky handful to you.
Oh, why, thank you, my queen.
As you squeeze the honeycomb with your bare hands, thick, rich honey slowly oozes into the brewery's tank. Too sweet for your taste, but then this potion's not for you. With the addition of the final ingredient, the brewing equipment is sealed and set to work. Steam hisses from rivets, and its swollen metal belly clinks and rattles. Before long, the waggling fingers of the gauges and dials settle down, indicating that the brew is complete. You give it a quick sniff test and recoil at the sickening sweet vapors. You push an empty wooden keg under the contraption spigot and crank the release valve. The brewer stands under the pressure and fills the keg.
May not be the finest honey meat around, but hopefully that great raging galoot won't stop to notice the difference. Ah, Captain, I brought you more honey meat.
The bear swipes up the tankard with his massive paw and tosses the contents into his slavering maw without hesitation. He licks his chops, savoring this peculiar flavor. With a sudden jerk, he bears down on you.
Say, this tastes kind of funny. What did you do, soldier?
It's a new recipe. I thought you might enjoy something with a little more sting in it.
You know I hate new things. I'll teach you to mess with my favorite brew, you hayseed.
The bear is upon you with frightening speed. He raises the huge mace in his paws skyward, and you brace for impact. With an equal measure of speed, the sergeant leaps between the crashing mace and your head. You peer through your fingers as a great clang resounds through the camp. The bear roars fiercely as his blow is magic repelled from the sergeant's talisman. The mace goes spinning out of his paw and falls into the lake with a great splash. Gapes, dumbfounded as the sergeant stands before him, completely unharmed.
Ha! That'll teach you to pick on us, you big oaf. This has been a long time coming.
The sergeant wags his finger at the bear.
What do you think you are, huh? You think you're so big and tough with your fancy feather hat and your big honking club? Well, look at you now.
The camp's soldiers gather to witness in stunned awe. Miraculously, the bear seems to shrink in the face of the sergeant's onslaught.
If it were up to me, you'd be dishonorably discharged for disorderly conduct. You're a disgrace to the uniform. You're no captain of mine.
With fear welling up in his eyes, the bear shrinks and shrinks until he is reduced to the size of a small cat.
And another thing, what's happening?
In place of the bear's drunken grimace is the stitched smile of a doll's grin. Two button eyes stare back at the disapproving faces surrounding the little plush toy. The sergeant takes a step back to reveal the small shape of a stuffed teddy bear where the brute once stood. Your transformative potion has finally done its job.
Gee, I guess I overdid it.
He scratches his head in befuddlement, but seems generally relieved.
Hey, Sarge, I guess that means you're in charge now, right? Oh, yeah, I guess it does. Well, what are you all standing around here for? The camp's a mess. Let's get to work.
You pick up the diminutive doll and brush some sand out of its fur. As you inspect it further, its head lolls to face you. Far within the glassy surface of his button eyes, you can barely make out a tiny crimson flame, the trapped soul of the bear.
This ought to be what that old goat is after. I hope he's happy.
The souls of the bear, leech, snake, and ox jostle in your satchel with fearful energies.
That's that then. I better get these back home to the goat before he ransacks the rest of my place.
The goat rears its head at the sight of you. Its hooves pound the ground excitedly.
Most excellent. I can sense the presence of spirits about you. You must have captured the souls I've asked for. No small task, I can tell you that. Just what do you plan on doing with them? Oh, this and that. Nothing you must concern yourself with. What's important is that you're one step closer to fulfilling your contract with me. Just go ahead and place them on the shrine there. I'll take care of the rest.
The goat shakes its head towards a carved relief at the back of the room, grinning in a horrible way that no goat should. As you bring the stuffed bear close to the carved stone relief in the wall, it spontaneously bursts into flames in your hands, burning away until only a red stone remains. The stone zips out of your grasp and straight into the socket on the wall, buzzing like some angry insect. You are buffeted by flashes of the bear's wrath, drunken roaring, cowering bodies, splintered wood, and the smell of honey. As with the first, the mummified husk of the leech turns to ash as you bring it close to the wall, leaving only a glowing orb in its place. Images of the leech slither into your mind, the prick of a needle, the drip, drip, drip of the draining fluids, soothing words, restless sleep. Prismatic colors flash through your head at the thought of the snake, secrets lapped up by a forked tongue, whispers beneath the sound of festivities. The ox brings with him the overbearing heat of the midday sun, the salty tang of sweat in the soil, suffering, sacrifice, solitude. You step away from the shrine and its smoldering stones. Your burdens suddenly feel much lighter. Besides you, the sleeping maiden stirs in her slumber, but does not wake.
Now then, you've had a very long day. Why don't you go get some rest? Tomorrow we shall pick up bright and early. Yes, I am quite tired.